Hey guys, this is Dominic coming to you live. Well, it's not live. It's live for me, but it won't be live for you. Coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. I'm on the pool level of my hotel out here, and I know that sounds fancy, but I would much rather be with you guys there in Seguin, rocking the place out. Man, I couldn't let another week go by without talking to you guys. I know it's only been a few days since we left you at 4 o'clock in the morning, bidding you a good night's sleep, which you probably didn't even get to bed till 6. I know Amber and I, that night we came back, didn't even get to bed till 8 o'clock in the morning, so basically we slept the day away, woke up at 4 p.m. That's just one of the memories we had from this trip, from us taking 18 hours to get there to once we got there, I made everybody set up tents and told everybody that, you know, be careful because tomorrow they might make us lift them all back up and put them in a different place. Sure enough, the guy comes up and says, hey, we're gonna have to put these in a different place, but you guys were troopers and you guys worked through it and we moved them, and that was fine. And that was before desperation even got started. And then came time for desperation. I had to remind everybody, including myself, that we were all there to have an encounter with God. The goal of the turn is to put everyone in a position to have an encounter with God, to experience God, and to expect God. And gosh, did we do that. We had a huge encounter with God there at desperation, and I'm so glad that we were all able to do that together, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else but you guys. After the worship started, it was just, we could feel the presence of God, and all of you guys have told me that you felt the same thing, and it was just so heavy in that place, the presence of God. And once we were there, man, there was rain. You know, we got rained on, rain on people's stuff. Everybody's stuff got wet, and those people had to go sleep in some lady's basement. That sounds scary, but you know, we were in the rich neighborhood, luckily, and in rich neighborhoods, a basement means that's where they keep their pool table and their ping pong table and refrigerator full of Cokes and sodas and all kinds of stuff that you guys could have. And then on the way back, it was Dom's great idea to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get on the road by 4 a.m. so I could get everybody home early, everybody home by 9 or 10 and get some good night's sleep. And then, man, we had a flat tire, and we went and changed that out at Walmart, and that took about 2 hours. And then we had another flat tire, and we had to take one of the flat tire off and change out another tire, and that ended up taking us another hour and a half. And after that, we had to drive slow, so we didn't get home until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But man, what a memory. It's something you won't forget. And thinking about that, thinking about all these things, and thinking about all the great speakers we listened to and all the great worship we had, there was one speaker that stuck out in my mind, and that was the last speaker we had, Ron Luce. He reminded us about Peter and Jesus, and he was saying that Peter, after Jesus had died, after only a couple days, maybe even a couple hours, whatever it was, he went back to fishing. He had been with Jesus for 3 years, and despite all that Jesus has taught him and showed him, he went back to fishing, back to what he knew, back to what was familiar. And his encouragement to us was to, when you got back home, don't go back to what's familiar to you. Keep Jesus alive, keep Jesus strong in you, and keep this fire burning that you got here, desperation, that you got there in Colorado. Keep that burning and forget the normalness, forget that everyday stuff that you were doing before, whatever that was. This new life you have in Jesus, this new life he showed you, to keep that going. I know one particular person, C-Rod, had a great testimony, and I've asked him to come up in front of you guys today and share that, a little bit of that testimony with you guys. God spoke to him and told him that he has a great plan for his life, just like he spoke to many of you. And I just wanted to give you a little taste of what God did for us there and with one of our leadership. So today I've asked C-Rod to go up there, and he's going to share with you what's on his heart, what he has for his future, what God has for his future. And there's one thing I wanted to remind you guys, and one thing I wanted to encourage you guys to do, and that's all this stuff, all these things that, all this experience that you had there, write all that down. Get a piece of paper, write it down, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the good and the bad stuff, whatever you might want to do. Even email it to yourself and put it in a special folder marked Desperation 2008. Because later on down the road, this is going to happen, and I don't want to speak this in a bad way, but later on down the road, you might have a bad day or a bad week or even a bad month, and somebody's going to discourage you and tell you that things aren't right and you're not doing things right. You can always go back to that piece of paper, always go back to that reference and say, you know what? Things are going right because God loves me. God has a plan for me. And you know how I know? Because he showed me in Colorado. He showed me what it was like to worship him. He showed me what it was like to have a true just abandonment in my heart for him. And he showed me how big he was and how awesome he was. And I'll never forget that. There's some of our leadership, and I'm sure that if they haven't showed you already, just ask them to do it and they will. they got desperation tattooed on their bodies. Now, when I say write it down, that's not exactly what I mean. I don't encourage it. If you want to do it, that's up to your parents and you. I can't have anything to do with that. I think it's awesome, but what I encourage you to do is write it down on a piece of paper that you can put away somewhere, and whenever you want to look at it, you can go look at it. Well, you guys, I love you so much, and I wish I could be there with you guys. I'll tell you what I want you to do. Hey, listen up. Listen up, everybody. Got it? Okay, here we go. This is what I want you to do. As soon as service is over, I want you guys to text me, email me, MySpace me, Rocket Book me, whatever you got to do to get a hold of me. And I want you to tell me how rockin' church was today. I want you to tell me that you guys tore the place down with worship, that you showed the people of Seguin and the people of Crossroads Church what worship can be like when you have a true abandonment for Jesus Christ, when you love Him so much that your arms go up and you can't get high enough up to Him because you're loving Him so much with your worship. Gosh, I love you guys, and I wish I could be there with you guys. I'll see you guys soon. I'll talk to you guys soon.